Alright, listen up folks. When it comes to Kaiju No.8 The Game, picking the right character really depends on the role you need. Some squads need raw damage dealers to melt enemies fast, others shine with buff or debuff support to make the whole team stronger. And of course, you can't forget about defenders who bring shields and healing to keep everyone alive. It's all about balance, and knowing which character dominates in each role can make the difference between a smooth run and a total wipe. So in today's tier list, we're breaking it down role by role, DPS, support, and defender. I'll show you the strongest picks, explain why they deserve their spot, and even throw in a few tips on how to get the most out of them. Whether you're here to maximize damage, boost your squad's potential, or stay alive through the toughest fights, I've got you covered. Let's jump straight into the best characters in Kaiju No.8 The Game. I'm quickly moving on to the video, and I'm ranking characters in Kaiju No.8 The Game. Before we start, if you enjoy these types of list videos, don't forget to like the video and subscribe. Enjoy watching. The characters in this tier are, in order from top left to bottom right, Kafka Hibino, Keiji Itami, Iharu Furuhashi, Eiji Hasegawa, Kikoru Shinomiya, Aoi Kaguragi, Tae Nakanoshima, and Reino Ichikawa. Alright, let's be honest here. If you've made it all the way down to the D and C tier characters in Kaiju No.8 The Game, you're basically in the fun but not fabulous zone. These units are like that one snack you grab at midnight. Sure, it gets the job done, but you know you should be reaching for something better. Most of these characters are really just beginner-friendly picks, giving you some basic early game damage per second or a bit of weaker support. They are not terrible, but they definitely are not the all-stars you'll want to lean on once things get serious. Think of them as your training wheels. Use them while you get started, but don't expect them to carry you to the finish line. Now, even in this tier, we have a couple of names worth a little love. Keiji Itami in his 4-star version is actually pretty useful because he can debuff enemies, and that makes him stand out from the rest of the pack. Then we have 4-star Kafka, who at least has the cool factor of transforming into his ultimate kaiju form. Is it the most efficient thing in the game? No, not really. But hey, who does not want to go full monster mode at least once, right? So, while most of the characters down here are just okay, these two deserve a respectful nod before you toss the rest back into the just for fun category. The characters in this tier are, in order from top left to bottom right, Rin Shinonome, Soshiro Hoshina, Ryo Ikaruga, Kota Tachibana, and Haruichi Izumo. Let's talk about the B-tier characters in Kaiju No.8 The Game. And honestly, this tier is like the solid but not spectacular group. You know, the people you invite to your party who won't steal the spotlight, but they'll definitely keep things running smoothly. They have clear strengths, but they're just missing that final little spark to push them into A or S tier greatness. First up, we've got Rin Shinonome in her 5-star version. Rin is an absolute blast, literally, because her combat skill and ultimate attack are both area of effect nukes. If you're looking to wipe out waves of enemies, she'll do the job without breaking a sweat. The only problem? When it comes to single target boss fights, her damage really falls off. So while she's great for cleaning up mobs, you might find yourself wishing she packed a little more punch against the big guys. Now, the reason Rin sits in B tier is pretty simple. You just don't really need a pure area of effect specialist all the time. Her blast attacks and those handy adjacent damaging abilities are fun, but the game already gives you lots of options for group clearing. Basically, Rin is awesome at one thing, but that one thing isn't always essential. Think of her as the life of the party when the crowd is big, but kind of awkward on a one-on-one dinner date. Next up is Soshiro Hoshina, another 5-star character who's kind of the definition of solid DPS. He's got decent area of effect damage for clearing groups, and then when you drop his ultimate ability, suddenly he's hammering a boss with some serious single-target damage. It's a nice balance, and it makes him versatile enough to slot into most teams. But here's the catch with Hoshina. He just doesn't bring as much extra value as some of the A-tier damage dealers. Characters like Kikoru can do similar damage while also reducing defense, and Kaiju Kafka can execute enemies for that extra wow factor. So while Hoshina gets the job done, he doesn't exactly shine when compared side by side with the competition. He's the guy who works really hard, but doesn't have that flashy highlight reel. Moving into the 4-star crew, let's give some love to Ryo Ikaruga. Now this guy is the definition of team player. He's not there to show off his own moves, he's there to make your entire squad hit harder. With his permanent attack buff and a kit that revolves mostly around his first skill and ultimate ability, Ryo ends up being an excellent autofill for fierce battle area teams. What makes Ryo so good is that he doesn't hog all your special points. Since his best stuff comes from his base skill and ultimate, he's not a resource drain like some of the higher star characters. That means you'll have more points left over to fuel your heavy hitters, making him a really efficient pick. He's like the guy who brings snacks to the party. He might not be the star of the night, but everyone's happier because he's around. Then we've got Kota Tachibana, another 4-star that really shines in a niche role. If you're going up against endgame giant-class kaiju, this guy is clutch. His menacing blow skill lowers enemy attack, which is a lifesaver when bosses are throwing out massive damage. Plus, he's got that freeze grenade utility that slows enemies down, giving your team a little breathing room in tough fights. Kota's damage output is fine. It's not going to blow your mind, but his utility makes him really valuable. He's kind of like that one toolbox item you don't use every day, but when you need it, you're glad you kept it. He's a great pick for specific fights and earns his B-tier spot by being situationally awesome. Finally, let's talk about Haruichi Izumo. He basically plays the same role as Kota, dropping enemy attack to make boss fights more manageable. He even throws in a speed reduction with pace control, which can be nice for keeping enemies from running circles around you. The issue? His debuffs just aren't as strong as Kota's, and when it comes to picking between the two, Kota usually wins. That being said, Haruichi still has value. If you don't have Kota or just want some backup debuffing, he can fill the role decently. Think of him as Kota's little brother. You'll take him along if you have to, but you know he's not bringing quite the same level of impact. Still, in a pinch, Haruichi can keep your team afloat when bosses start swinging hard. So overall, the B-tier characters are all reliable choices that bring something useful to the table. Rin is your mob clearer, Hoshina balances group and boss damage, Ryo supports your team's attack power, Kota locks down bosses with debuffs and freezes, and Haruichi does a similar job but just not as effectively. They're not the headliners of Kaiju No.8 The Game, but they're solid supporting actors who'll keep your squad moving forward. The characters in this tier are, in order from top left to bottom right, Kikoru Shinomiya, Mina Ashiro, Gen Narumi, Akari Minazi, and Mina Ashiro. Now we're stepping into the A-tier characters of Kaiju No.8 The Game. These are the ones that make you go, okay, now we're cooking. They may not reach the absolute top of the food chain like the S-tiers, but they're reliable, strong, and in some cases borderline broken if you play them right. Think of A-tier as the honor roll students, consistent performers who'll rarely let you down. Let's kick it off with Kikoru Shinomiya. She's a 5-star powerhouse who just gets scarier the longer the fight drags on. Every action she takes makes her stronger, and if you give her time, she becomes a snowball rolling downhill. Unstoppable. But the real magic? Her ultimate ability lowers enemy defense for your entire team. That's huge team-wide utility, and one of the main reasons she sits comfortably in A-tier. Plus, her adjacent damage makes her a sneaky good area of effect option. Basically, Kikoru is the friend you want in every group project. She makes everyone look better. Next, let's talk about Mina Ashiro in her 5-star form. This Mina is your go-to boss killer. She absolutely thrives in endgame content against giant-class enemies. While her base damage per second is fine, she's all about building up to that devastating guaranteed critical hit every 3 focus stacks. The trick is to buff her before that turn and then let her ultimate rip. And here's the golden rule with her. Do not waste time stacking crit rate. She's already auto-critting with focus. Just pump up her damage stats and watch the bosses melt. Mina's 5-star version is basically a sniper rifle in character form. She might not clear mobs as easily as others, but when it comes to boss fights, she's the one you want lining up the shot. Imagine her as the cool-headed sharpshooter who waits patiently, then drops the one hit that makes the whole fight worth it. A-tier for sure, and if you're tackling late-game kaiju, she's practically essential. Then we have General Narumi, another 5-star who mixes things up nicely. Gen brings a solid blend of single-target boss killer damage with some adjacent area of effect splashes. He's like the hybrid car of the roster, efficient, versatile, and good in multiple situations. His playstyle revolves around speeding himself up, dropping an ultimate, and then speeding up again. It keeps him cycling fast, and that means more damage in less time. That said, if we're being brutally honest, Gen sometimes feels like the third option. If you already have Kikoru or Kaiju Kafka for utility and Mina for boss fights, you probably won't reach for him first. But don't get it twisted, he's still a great character and absolutely worthy of A tier. It's just that his neighbors on the list are really strong. Moving to the 4-star side, we have Akari Minase, and oh boy, she's incredible. Akari is your healer support combo that keeps teams alive in brutal endgame modes, especially the late floors of Fierce Battle Arena. She doesn't just heal, she also boosts ultimate charge-up rate, which is a game changer for teams built around heavy-hitting ults. And her special point economy is beautiful. You only need to use her skills when you absolutely have to, letting your 5-star damage dealers hog the resources. What pushes Akari over the top is her Awakening 6 ability. She literally revives fallen allies. That's not just support, that's full-on lifesaver status. When things go south, Akari is the one pulling your team back from the brink. Honestly, she's one of the best supports in the game, and if you've got her built, you'll quickly see why she's A tier. And finally, let's not forget about Mina Ashiro in her 4-star version. This Mina plays a little differently, acting as a buffer for your attackers. With her morale damage buff, she gives your team a big boost without draining your special points too much. The nice part? You only need to apply that buff once, and then it just sits there, letting your 5-star damage dealers go wild without you constantly spending resources. On top of that, this Mina can actually swing for some decent burst damage herself. With her ultimate and her skills that trigger extra damage when morale is up, she's more than just a support bot. She's a hybrid, part support, part damage dealer. The only thing keeping her from climbing even higher on the list is that she doesn't specialize in one role. But make no mistake, she's still one of the better 4-stars you can build. So when it comes to A tier, this group really brings balance. Kikoru is your scaling damage and team defense shredder. Mina 5-star is your boss-destroying sniper. Gen Narumi is the reliable all-rounder. Akari Minase is your healer guardian angel. And Mina 4-star is your hybrid buffer with a punch. They're all powerful in their own ways, and if you've got them on your roster, you're in a very good place. The characters in this tier are, in order from top left to bottom right, Rino Ichikawa, Isao Shinomiya, Soshiro Hoshina, and Kaiju No.8. Alright, now we've hit the S tier characters in Kaiju No.8 The Game, the cream of the crop, the MVPs, the ones that make you feel like you've unlocked cheat codes. These are the units you build teams around, the ones you brag about when you finally pull them, and the ones that make bosses cry themselves to sleep. Let's break them down one by one. First up is the absolute monster himself, Rino Ichikawa in his 5-star form. Rino isn't just good, he's broken. His Ice Break ability hits like an ultimate attack, except it's just a regular skill. That means you're dropping nuke-level damage without waiting around for your ultimate bar. And speaking of his ultimate, it piles on even more destruction with crit rate buffs, area of effect damage, and even a freeze effect for bonus utility. He's not only melting enemies, he's locking them in place while he does it. Easy SSS tier, no questions asked. But Rino's kit doesn't stop there. Thanks to his passive, you're actually getting special points refunded most of the time, which is insane for resource management. Add in the fact that allies can trigger his ice crystals for extra off-turn damage, and Rino becomes both a DPS carry and a support damage dealer rolled into one. He's like the guy who cooks dinner, does the dishes, and leaves dessert on the table. Absolute perfection. Next on the list is Isao Shinomiya, another 5-star, and the definition of a must-have for Fierce Battle area. His whole shtick is protecting your team, and he does it better than anyone else. His ally shield makes sure your squad stays alive, while his ultimate combines strong damage with a fat layer of damage reduction. Shields don't just block hits, they also boost your team's damage while active, which makes him both a defender and an enabler at the same time. And if you manage to get his first duplicate, oh boy, things get wild. Isao gains the ability to resurrect and heal himself, basically giving him 2 lives in one fight. That kind of survivability is beyond unfair. In a game where one unlucky crit can ruin your run, Isao is the safety net every team dreams of. Pair him with your strongest DPS, and you've got yourself an unstoppable engine. Now let's talk about one of the best 4-stars in the entire game, Soshiro Hoshina. Don't let that lower rarity fool you, this guy is incredible. He synergizes with basically any DPS character, and his first duplicate is ridiculously strong, giving you massive crit rate buffs that are easy to unlock. Put him next to Reno, who's already critting like a maniac, and suddenly you've got a crit machine that never misses. Soshiro isn't just a one-trick support either. His instant inspiration and resourcefulness in a pinch make him a clutch option in tough fights, boosting damage output while also cleansing debuffs. That flexibility makes him one of the most reliable teammates in the entire roster. Honestly, if he were a 5-star, people would still call him busted. He's that good. And finally, we can't forget the big guy himself, Kaiju No.8. At launch, this 5-star is an absolute powerhouse. He doesn't use weapons, and landing critical hits requires a bit more setup, but his base stats are insanely high, and he comes stacked with permanent buffs. In the first few weeks of the game, Kaiju No.8 is almost guaranteed to be one of the top-performing units in every mode. The only downside? As the meta develops and players max out weapons and artifacts for other top-tier characters, Kaiju No.8 might slip slightly behind. But don't get it twisted, he's still a beast. In fierce battle area, supported by the likes of Mina and Soshiro, he can dish out insane amounts of damage while tanking hits and even taunting enemies. Plus, his ability to execute mobs makes him a finisher that turns close fights into easy wins. Bottom line, he's not just S tier, he's a legend. The video ends here. See you in another video. Don't forget to subscribe.